The media is full of cute images of babies. They portray a picture of calmness and serenity. However, the reality can be quite stressful and tiring at times. As the parent, you will build a strong emotional attachment to your baby, and everything the baby does will impact on your world. In those first few weeks, every minute of every day will be consumed with the little life that you're responsible for and insatiably in love with. You'll have times of great joy and intense moments of feeling inadequate. This is all normal and makes up this amazing journey of parenting. This video will look at the normal full-term baby and how to care for her or him. Though in saying normal, the uniqueness of your baby makes a word like normal shrink into oblivion as your baby plays out her distinctive life. The moment of first introduction is profound. I cannot begin to describe it. When all of the painful contractions stop and you see and hold your baby for the first time. The baby's appearance at birth is different then than it will be a few hours later, and it'll be different again in a few days. The skin colour can range at birth from purple blue through to pink. The average weight of a newborn is 3.2 kilograms, length is 50 centimetres and head circumference 35 centimetres. The baby has an amazing aroma that you breathe in and connects with your hormone machinery to expel the placenta, help bonding and breastfeeding. The baby will become alert and open her eyes, looking for yours. She may still have some of that soft, downy hair, lanugo on her, and vernix, a creamy ointment-like substance, and a little of your blood may have got on her. There's no rush to clean it off, and the vernix can be gently massaged in. Her eyes may be puffy, her breast and labia swollen, or scrotum if it's a boy. The baby may have little white-like pimples on and around the nose. The baby's head may be cone-like in shape and have a ridge along the top, with fontanelles, soft spots on the top of the head and at the back. These were designed so that the skull could mould as the baby was coming through the birth canal and for the rapid growth of the newborn baby's brain. Parents typically examine their newborn babies, count the toes and fingers, and sometimes they come across blemishes and they wonder what they are. Like stork bites, a common name for some bruise-like marks that may be found at the back of the neck, on the forehead or eyelids. These redden a bit when the baby cries and fade away over time. Some babies with dark skin ancestry might have what's known as Mongolian spots. They're usually located on the buttocks or back, dark bruise-like in colour, which generally disappear by 2 years of age. The baby may have done a little poo, known as meconium. It's black and sticky and tar-like. If it hasn't done it then, it will probably have done it by day 3. Then over the next few days it changes in consistency and colour until it turns into the standard runny yellow. Mothers have found a little petroleum jelly on babies' bottoms helps with the removal of the meconium, and warm, fresh water on cotton balls is a gentle way to remove any poo left. The baby arrives attached to the placenta by the cord, and there are a few options here. The cord could be cut straight away, or you can observe it and wait until it stops pulsating and then cut it. Or you can wait until the placenta has been delivered and then cut it, or in the case of a lotus birth, it doesn't get cut at all. Whatever option you choose, it will eventually shrivel up and fall off, anything from a few days to a couple of weeks later. All the care that is required for a cut cord is fresh, warm water, good drying, and loose, clean clothing. The naked, newborn baby is put onto the bared breasts of the mother. This is a special time, and it's known as skin to skin. It's when the natural, instinctive and reflexive actions of both can take place in a warm, dimly lit and quiet environment. This is an important hour for the start of life for the baby and for the mother. A mother unmedicated during labour and left skin to skin with her baby has the highest chance of successful initiation of breastfeeding. Skin to skin helps regulate the breathing, temperature and glucose levels for the baby. If the mother needs medical care at this time, Dad or another support person may do the skin to skin. Often the first hour of skin to skin is thought to be the only time it's required. This is a misconception, as it continues to provide a valuable environment over the early weeks for mother and baby to learn about each other. Once the mother has had her time with the baby, Dad has the reward of a baby in the quiet, alert state. He can look eye to eye with her or him and have some facial fun. Fathers that spend time with their newborn babies and as they grow has shown to enhance the child's cognitive ability. It's a different touch and smell, a deeper voice and playfulness enriching the child's life. The medical profession like to do a routine examination and weigh the baby. This is ideally left until after the mother and father have said their hellos. After all of this activity, a baby usually goes off to sleep for a few hours. It's helpful for the initiation of breastfeeding not to let the baby sleep too long in the early days. A minimum of 8 feeds per 24 hours is recommended. Frequent feeding allows for the mother and baby to get the hang of things while the breasts are still soft, and for the baby to get plenty of the colostrum, which is rich in proteins and antibodies. Often mothers will feel a tightening in their uterus when they breastfeed in those early days. This is a hormonal reaction, and it helps expel the lochia, which is the bleeding after childbirth, and to shrink the uterus back to the pre-pregnancy size. Mothers are usually exhausted and hungry after childbirth. It can feel like they've run a marathon. Feed her with warm, wholesome food. Tiredness will come, and over the next few days and weeks, she may feel she never catches up on her sleep. It takes time for mothers to recover from childbirth. Research shows us it can take up to a year. Putting into place support before the baby is born, like meals and someone to do the housework, will go a long way to help. Babies require a lot of calming and settling in those first few weeks. Replicating the environment of the womb, as I mentioned in my first video, will go a long way to help settle the baby outside the womb. Baby's muscle tone develops over time, so they usually have a bit of a floppy neck for a while that needs to be supported when they're being held. Everyone has advice for first-time parents, the internet, family, friends, and even those who have never had children. Remember, there are many different ways to care for babies, many cultural traditions and norms. Nothing can replace your instincts, the biological wiring that you have. Trust your instincts. No one knows your baby better than you. What babies need is responsive care, which simply means responding to your baby's cues. Practical things like when they cry, you pick them up. When they suck on things, you feed them. When they've filled their nappy, you change them. And when they need to be cleaned, you give them a bath. When they're quiet and alert, you play with them, hold them and talk to them. They will respond in their own way because all babies are unique. Regarding nutrition, optimum nutrition is first of all breastfeeding, the baby sucking directly from the breast. Then it is using your express breast milk. If that's not available, wet nursing or the use of donor breast milk. And if that's not available, it's then the use of breast milk substitutes, which are manufactured specifically for the newborn baby, typically based on powdered cow or goat milk. The most important work of a new baby is feeding. Letting a baby feed for as long as they like on one side before swapping to the other will help develop self-regulation and milk supply. There's no hurry for the baby to get both breasts, no limit to how long they're on for, providing the latch is correct. More about latching in my breastfeeding video. I'd just like to mention here that babies are wired to suck. It helps with their digestion and also to comfort them emotionally. In that case, you may wonder about the use of pacifiers. Everyone has an opinion about that. It's a complex issue and I don't really have the space here to go into it. I suggest you consider the BRAIN acronym from my informed consent video and do your research. Then if you choose to use one or not, or perhaps use one with restrictions, you'll feel confident about the decision that you have made. If you own a car, a rear-facing car seat at 45 degrees angle has been found to be the safest option. Seek information from independent sources rather than from the manufacturer or the seller of products to get unbiased information. Find out the rules in your country. New Zealand has qualified child restraint technicians that are worth a visit, and on the New Zealand Transport Association website they have them all listed by area. Other than the purchase of a car seat, another significant purchase can be the baby carrier.
My best buy while I was pregnant was actually my baby carrier. It was so good for settling a newborn baby. She was really happy being close to me, and if I couldn't put her in her bed, then she would just go to sleep on me, and we just had that lovely bond and that lovely moment together, and I could get some housework done or things that I needed to get done, and she was with me the whole time and happy. It was just fantastic.
Sleeping is a huge issue. When a baby sleeps, how often and for how long is totally individual. Babies typically fall asleep when being held in someone's arms or at the breast. Breast milk has melatonin in it, which helps induce sleep. It also releases prolactin in the mother that helps her sleep too. Often parents tuck a contented baby into bed and hope they'll fall asleep. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. This is a developmental issue. As the months progress, the baby will increase their melatonin production and they'll sleep for longer periods at night and wake less. Research has shown that breast milk produced in the evening also has increased factors that are not present during the day that help the baby sleep. Knowing this can give you confidence to feed often during those common fussy hours in the evening. Another issue around sleep is safe sleep. Whether you have the baby separate in a bassinet or in bed with you, known as co-sleeping, there are conditions that make the sleep environment safer. Dr. James McKenna, a world-renowned researcher on sleep, has an informative website which is well worth a visit. I have summarised some of those conditions found to reduce risks in the sleep environment. Babies have a tendency to get wind trapped in their little tummies. It's from sucking and from crying. And in the first few weeks, it can be quite a challenge to bring it up. But as the mother gets more skilled at breastfeeding and the baby's digestive system grows and develops, it gets easier. There are many ways to wind and settle an upset baby. Experiment and find what works for you and your baby. It's not uncommon for babies to spill when they bring up wind, so having a cloth handy can be useful. A common question that a lot of first-time parents have is, when do we bath the baby? There's no rush, because when you take your time before you bath the baby, it allows for the natural aromas to exchange between mother and baby and for that to do its work. Baby doesn't need one every day. All that's required is the use of warm water and soft cloths. Products for bathing babies are unnecessary. Make sure the little crevices are washed and dried. Pick a time when you're both relaxed and not in a hurry. Get everything ready first, as some babies like to be cuddled or fed afterwards. At first it seems like a bit of an ordeal, but with experience it gets easier. Babies take time to learn how to regulate their temperature, so dressing a baby for warmth but not to be hot is a general guide. Using natural materials like cotton and wool will help the baby's skin breathe and adjust to the climate. No one is a ready-made parent because every child is an individual and needs his or her parents to discover who he or she is. Hold the baby when they sleep if you want to, and don't feel obliged to hand him over to everyone for a cuddle. This is your baby. Allow yourself time to be taught by your child. Happy parenting.